everybody, Missy Walden here. I wanted to go over writing a contract, a successful sales contract with you guys today. And the reason I'm doing this is because we are mostly doing listings this year, thank goodness. And my heart goes out to a buyer agent right now, and I hate to see you work hard and show the homes and do everything you're doing and you're not winning deals. So I just kind of wanted to go over some of the contracts that we've seen, some of the things that make it so much more difficult for the listing agent. And if you make it easier, I think your contracts will fly a little bit higher and maybe actually make it to the top of the heap then. So I'm not sure if you all who uses dot loop. Dot loop is so hard for us to find in our email, especially if you do not put the address on the subject line. I don't know where it goes, and I'm not the first person that has said that, but I think that it's super important to, if your company uses dot loop, you better put the subject line on it. And above all, you need to let the agent know that you're sending an offer over. If you don't communicate with the agent, whether it's via text or email or call them, I would do all three. If I'm sending an offer that I've worked my butt off to get in the door and I know I'm competing, with 5, 6, 12 other offers, I would make sure that agent has my information and they know that I'm sending an offer. So if you're using dot loop, just please make sure and put the subject line, the address, and put contract offer or best offer, or highlight it in some manner or form. The other thing I think that we see is people sending contracts over in 8 different PDFs. Please don't do that, because if I have 23 contracts to present to my client, that means I have 23 times 8 pieces of contracts to pull together. So there's that little button up at the top that says combine in a PDF. And so you certainly can do that. And if you're, whatever it is you're using as far as your contract system doesn't offer that somewhere that's visible to you, I'm pretty sure that they do somewhere. So call your support system and find out about that. That is insanely frustrating. And I don't know about you guys, we're with EXP. So EXP has corporate documents that they also want with every contract. But when I write for a buyer, I just write with my residential property disclosure, my home inspection, my financing contingency, any of the things that are the meat of the contract. All the corporate stuff can wait until I get the ratified contract back. I always tell my clients, I'm going to send you this in 2 different sections. First, we're going to win the deal, and then I'm going to send you the corporate documents, and then we'll put it together and we upload it into our document system. It just makes it so much easier for you guys, because then you don't have to have 13 or 15 different documents that you're having e-signed. Okay, the other thing I think that is really important to do, if you're going to write a contract, fill the thing out. All my information is in the MLS. And if you don't know how to find it in the MLS, or you don't have access to the MLS, I honestly don't know how you're doing business. Everybody uses HomeSnap. HomeSnap is not the MLS. So go back to the MLS, pull the tax record up, see how the buyer or the seller is selling the house, what their legal names are. And not that the tax records are always correct, because a lot of times they're not. So reach out to me, or look in the documents that are uploaded in the MLS. There should be the DPOR documents, the residential property disclosure statements there. What is being conveyed, excuse me, is also uploaded in the MLS. If we have a survey, or if we have anything, all the highlights about the house are all uploaded into the document section in the MLS. If you would just familiarize yourself with that, that would make your job a lot easier too, because it tells exactly what's going to convey, so you don't have to go back and forth. How fabulous would it be to get the contract right the first time and not have to go back and forth? If the agent that is selling the house has a preference to a title company, you might ask, who's your title company preference? So we most often use the same one because she's amazing. And by no means, obviously, we'd be asking you to use that. You use what's right for your side of the deal. But if you get it in there the first time, then it's one less thing that has to be initialed by everybody when it comes back to you all. Sometimes people will also send documents in or straight from DocuSign in the little, hey, you got to open it up to see it. Well, that expires after a while. So I'm not exactly sure how long it stays in that envelope that is available for me to open up. But the last house we sold, we had 2 of them that came over that were sent, and the expiration time the time had expired, so I couldn't open the doc. So I had to chase the agent around to make sure that, we got the contract and we were being fair to her. So keep that in mind. If you use, if you use DocuSign, take it out of DocuSign. Or if you use ZipWorms, take it out of ZipWorms, download it as a PDF on your desktop and send it in an email and CC somebody. If you have an admin, or if you want to CC our admin, if you want to ask me, that way nothing falls through the cracks. So that's really, that's a big deal. So don't let your document, or just find out whether your document will expire if it has a timeline. The other thing that makes it so amazingly fabulous is if you do a cover sheet or even an email that says, your company, your information, the buyer's information, the buyer's phone number, title company preference on your side, and then the offer, the actual offer price, whether there's closing costs, whether there's a home inspection contingency, whether you're waiving the appraisal contingency, or if there's a cap on the appraisal gap. We're going to do $10,000 above the list price or above the appraised value up to blah, blah, blah number. And if there's an escalation clause, I'm beginning to have a little heartburn over escalation clauses too, because I feel like if your client can escalate up to whatever number it is, make that your offer. Make it your offer. Don't make it an escalation clause. So that's just something we're entertaining, trying to figure out how to use right now, because you basically are showing your cards. And if your escalation clause is not a number that you can send proof of funds for, or you sent an updated lender letter that shows that escalation number is something that is approved by the lender, don't bother and do it. So if you do raise the sale price, if you do escalate to a number, you better have a lender letter that matches it. Because I'm going to call the lender and I'm going to confirm that, number one, they answer their phone. Number two, your clients have all their docs in, which most often they do in this market because you've already lost on a couple deals. But I'm also going to confirm that the funds are there to come above whatever the appraised value is with cash to the table. So you have to do your homework and you have to make sure that those funds can be reconciled by the listing agent. Let's see, what else? Complete the information. Again, just go back to the residential sales contract on the last page, put my information in there as well as your information. And if you don't know either, you need to not be running around out there. I don't want a copy of the EMD. Do not send a copy of the check. Just write it in that this is what they're going to offer as their earnest money. Again, that'll be something that'll be verified by the lender that they have the money to do that. You're sending somebody's checking account and their personal information. Don't do that. If that's what your broker is still expecting you to do, I would go back and check to see if there's some sort of updated guidelines that they now are using. If there's cash over the appraised value, if you would send proof of funds, and the way you get proof of funds is you go back to their bank, or they need to go back to their bank, and they need to call whoever the vice what is it? The vice president of the bank, or the president of the bank, and somebody just needs to vouch for them in written format, can be sent with the lender letter also. And the other cool thing, it's so nice to have the lender call and say, hey, this agent just sent over an offer for representing these clients, and they're solid. I've got their tax stuff. I've got their salary information. We've updated their bank accounts for the last 30 days. All these things help make your contract shine above and beyond, especially if the lender will vouch for you. I think that's pretty much the most important stuff, but for me, the hardest thing is to keep up with everybody. If you're going to text me, make sure your signature's on your text, or that you somehow or another have let me know who you are, because I had like 85 texts on my phone the first day we listed our house over here on Clark, and I was overwhelmed. So I really appreciate everybody playing nice in the sandbox for the showings, taking your time. If you're from up north and you can't open the lock boxes because ours are FAR, Fredericksburg Association of Realtors, lockbox registered there. Sometimes when I go up north, I have to fiddle around with the lockbox a little bit or call Central Lock. Don't call me if you can't get in the door. If the key is missing, I totally, have a backup plan for that. But if you can't figure out how to lock or unlock the lockbox with your phone, you need to call Central Lock. And the actual serial number is on the lockbox. That is what will help you. And if they need to, then they will call me, and we will meld together the conversation, and we will get you in the door. The other thing that really makes me crazy is when people use the bathroom or they are doing other things in the house, and I can track and see who's been in that house when the next agent says, oh, this is wrong, or the toilet's running, or it's overflowing, or something. I really appreciate when agents will reach out and say, hey, things are ugly here. You better do something about it. But your contract, people, make your contract as easy as possible. Make it one document. Complete the document. If it's DocuSign or dot loop, put the title on it, on the subject line of the property, the address, and call or text me with your information so I knew who in the world I'm talking to and that the document came from you. Anyway. I really appreciate everybody and everything that they do. If I can always be more help to you, if you don't win the contract, I will certainly tell you why. I'm not supposed to tell you the numbers, but I can give you a ballpark number so you can help educate your clients as to what the market is like. But you guys, don't send an offer that is at the list price and you want a home inspection, even for informational purposes only. And, oh, that's right, you want closing costs? Really? Not in this market. Don't waste your time writing an offer like that. And if you can't educate your clients to help them understand where this market is, you're wasting your heart and your gas and your time, and they are going to be frustrated with you as well as the market. So if you're approved for $400,000, if your client's approved for $400,000, you better be looking at 350s. Don't look at 400s and then need closing costs on top of that, and 410 or 400 be your offer price. It's just not going to work in this market. So anyway, if it's a cash offer too, just have proof of funds for that. And I hope you guys are doing well. You're welcome to reach out. My number is 540-903-5171. I'd be more than happy to go through a sales contract with you in any manner or form you would need. And I thank you all. I thank you very much for what you're doing. And I know this is an insanely difficult market for buyer agents right now. And I really try to communicate, and I really appreciate you. Anyway, give me a shout if you need anything. We'd love to hear from you. Take care.